Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Friday, August 3rd. We are on the Americas account, but we're kind of nowhere close to being done because I've still got a pile of news. I need to use 7 more hero power, which isn't too bad. But then, after everything is done, after the news is done, I need to come over here and cover every single card, and I am not sure if I'm actually going to be able to do all of that in one day. I may have to do some of this tomorrow on Saturday, but let's start with just playing Hearthstone and covering the news, and we'll see where we get. Alright, let's see. First game on Steam. We have a game called Case 2 Animatronic Survival, which this seems like this is a Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff. Yes. And it is mixed reviews, 42% of 14 user reviews already. So people are not liking it, probably because it's a early access bait and switch Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff. Yeah. It says it's single player and multiplayer and online multiplayer. I'm surprised. Well, Case 2 Animatronic Survival is 10% off for $17.99.
I wonder. Not too quickly.
Is someone injured?
Let's see. Seems like most people are complaining because the game is lagging more than anything else. The weird thing here is Case 1 is not listed by this publisher or this developer. So wherever that game is from, I don't know.
Right away.
Should have attacked first. TechRaptor has an article. Rumor: Steam flash sales may be returning. Flash sales may be returning to Steam in some form, according to a tweet from the Valve News Network founder Tyler McVicker, who is probably the most prominent Valve sleuth, I guess is what you would call him. He's made an interesting career for himself just covering Valve stuff on YouTube and kind of nothing else. Let's see. There are quite a few gamers out there in the world who would happily buy a bunch of great games during sales, whether it's on Steam or somewhere else. A particular practice that this is still used on many sites is flash sales. A short period of time, typically 8 to 12 hours, where a game is at an even better discount than usual. Valve made use of flash sales themselves up until autumn of 2015, when they discontinued the process. They
medicine insects.
The practice. The special short-term deals haven't made a return since. Let's see. The Twitter here from Tyler McVicker at Valve News Network. Apparently you can't go any further than that. Couldn't get the K in there. I wonder if he could have gotten Valve in or Valve News. Sorry, I'm yawning. I'm not even really sleepy. I'm just running out of air. Need to do more deep breathing exercises. Talking too much, frankly. Let's see. Flash sales are. I've just been informed that Steam games flash sales are returning with a twist. Devs can choose for sales to last 6, 8, 10, or 12 hours, shaking up sales almost every hour, making sales feel more like an event again.
You shall not pass.
Right now, remember, I'm only needing to use my hero ability. That's if I win, that's great, but let's see. The reason why this is a rumor, it appears some strings that were presented to a user on the Steam translation server, a community-based service run by Valve to help make the digital distribution servers easier to read in other languages. While I'll happily concur with his assessment, he stated that all he has received is the same image that was uploaded to Twitter. For that reason, we can't trust a single screenshot to be an authentic indication of Steam's flash sales. It very well may just be a case of Steam implementing a feature that they have no intention of ever rolling out, just in case. The next anticipated Steam-wide, site-wide Steam sale will likely be in the Halloween sale towards the end of October, so if anything we might find out for certain in 3 months or so. Yeah, and I don't know if I'll have any real finances personally to buy any games for Halloween. Like, more and more it's getting difficult to find games to buy. Difficult to find money to buy the most expensive $60 games, and difficult to justify buying cheaper games. So I kind of run in circles where kind of can't afford or don't want to buy anything. Alright. Next game we have on Steam is called The Warrior War. It looks actually pretty good. And the problem with any asset flip at this point is that they all look too good. It's a first-person shooter in World War II. I don't think you can trust to play a World War II first-person shooter in early access. It's 25% off for $1.49. That's not made by a major AAA developer. Like, even if it's a great game, what does it matter? Nobody else will be playing it. This is from a developer who has about a handful of other games on Steam, none of which have been reviewed even. So very few people interested in their games. Apparently I have no spells in my deck.
Beware the shadow.
Die, mage.
Job's done.
Let's see, Eurogamer has an article. Stick It to the Man, spiritual successor of Flipping Death is out in August. Updates coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch next week. I think I've already talked about Flipping Death, and yeah, kind of until it is actually on PC, I don't think there's anything new to say about it. I don't know what kind of game it is. Alright. We have had the ultimate evolution of VR, in that we now have a game on Steam that's only in Japanese right now and is early access and requires VR headset, but otherwise it's free, and it's called Soon VR. That's TSUN-TSUN VR. It is an anime girl with angel wings who tries to poke, hug, and touch and interact with you, versus what we've had up until this point, where it's the exact opposite. You're usually poking, hugging, groping the other characters. This anime girl has a large amount of her midriff exposed, and a short skirt and stocking suspenders.
Is someone injured?
Job's done.
Let's see. It's, however, not tagged with any nudity or sexual content, so I think you're probably going to be a little disappointed. And it seems like there's some other characters too, like 2 other characters. And apparently there's a haptics vest called the TAC-TOT that you can be wearing. This is just for the incredibly pathetically lonely people. Full immersion VR is on its way, but it's still going to take a lot of time. Yeah, and see, the game is basically free to sell the TAC-TOT by B Haptics Incorporated. And in Japan, this tactical feedback vest will certainly be used for things like this, whereas in the United States, they'll probably have you playing Call of Duty with it and getting shot. As a game, it don't look very fun. It seems pretty generic and boring. Next game we have on Steam is called Burden. It's an early access RPG. Alright, it seems like you're always in a dust storm looking at the trailer, so it's hard to then say that you're not having dark screenshot syndrome. There's some weird looking aliens that you can shoot. It's just seems like it's a asset flip that's trying to hide the fact that it's an asset flip. Its burden is $16.99. It's English and Russian, so take that for whatever it means. First game from the developer. Moving on, Gamer Sutra has an article. Zynga's mobile forever franchises contribute to its Q2 growth. So this is strong performances from mobile versions of Worlds with Friends, Zynga, Poker, and CSR2, which I don't. Is that Candy Sugar Rush 2? Or is that what that is? Or I don't even know what that game would be.
Job's done.
Is there anything more to say about that? No, not really. Next game we have on Steam is called Deadly Silence. Let's see. It says it's the ultimate action game for people who enjoy action, gore, and violence. The game puts you face to face with a huge range of challenges and situations to face some unpredictable odds. It's tagged with action, gore, violence, racing, adventure. And then in the trailer I'm seeing a poorly animated 3D Abraham Lincoln. Yep, this looks like a troll game. Definitely looks like a troll game.
Tortola, preserve us!
This trailer's not showing me anything. Yep, this is just a bunch of asset flips and horror things that are going to run towards you in basically an asset flip thing. Yep, looks terrible. I guess I'm using the phrase asset flips again. If it's not an asset flip, it's a very low effort game. Deadly Silence is $14.99. Nothing visually appealing there. I like the thumbnail on it, but the game looks nothing like the thumbnail. Let's see. I think I already talked about a kind of Iconoclast. When did this come out? January 23rd? This is just a Metroidvania game I was going to add to my list. And so is that. And so is that. Might be closer to the end than I thought. Forsaken Remastered, yes. So apparently I got some games I was gonna add to my wish list in the wrong place. Let's see.
Where's my pet?
Gamasutra has an article. Stanford will share insight into mixed reality's medical uses at XRDC. If anybody knows what XRDC is, I guess in general this just means interesting. It says at the bottom, Gamasutra, XRDC, and GDC are sibling organizations under the parent UBM Americas. So this is literally just an advertisement written by staff. It's like nobody even gets the byline. Interesting. Okay, now that I've used the hero power, I can just play for real. Let's see. We got a game on Steam called Metal Fatigue. It looks like a real-time strategy game. It looks like StarCraft 1. It's 10% off for $5.39. I have no interest in it. It doesn't look that good, even though it is 96% positive with 28 users. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article. Neon-infused Speedrunner Raised launches September 14th on Xbox One and PC, and October 15th on the PS4 and Switch. The game already has a Steam page, so I can look at that for slightly more details. Now, the weird thing is I certainly have seen neon-infused racers before, but this one looks very fast-paced with tight controls. It looks like a real game, whereas so many don't. This is one to at least keep an eye on. Maybe I would come back and decide like that the game is just not for me because it's too difficult. Just a little too much speed, but yeah. But it is also a September 14th release, so I probably could have waited. Let's see, Graveball. I'm pretty sure I already covered Graveball. It says it came out July 31st, but did it come out on early access and then decide to be out of early access? Well, Graveball, as I recall, is basically basketball except for with some zombies and floating hoops, and you're doing a few things differently, attacking each other and such. It's, I think, mostly a multiplayer game, but it does say it has some single player. It's 10% off for $4.49. I don't want to see Graveball again for a while, or ever, frankly. Just because I don't want to get down to a point where people are finding ways to manipulate their release dates and showing up on on Steam over and over again. Graveball says it's a 75% sports game and a 25% arena brawler. We've got a game called Lightfield Hyper Edition. Seems like it is a racing game, moving at very fast speeds. Man, as I get older and older, I wonder about these fast speed games. Like, can I really play these anymore, or am I just boned? Do I really have no chance and no hope of playing? Lightfield looks good. It says it's got some single player in it. I'm not sure how much. It says it has a campaign mode. But I'll keep an eye on it. 20% off for $11.99. Next game we have on Steam is called Charm Tale. This is... It looks like a game in one fashion, but it's actually a different type of game. Let me see if I can explain that better. It takes images and breaks them up into shapes, and then shapes will come down a trail, and you need to drag the shapes to the place, and so you're basically doing tentagrams, nonograms, like, and it adds a little bit of a challenge because it fills in places that you've already filled in with the picture, so it either makes it harder or easier because of that. This game, which I'm failing to explain well, is an interesting idea, at least. It's a different way of playing things. It's $9.99, unfortunately, with no discount, so I would have to wait till there's some user reviews and probably wait till it's on a massive discount. This really feels like something that would be a 99-cent game. And it seems like it may not even have a full screen mode on it. YouTube, by the way, I'll keep that on my wish list, has added a super tall portrait mode to videos, and so they don't want any burnt in black bars on the left or right. I don't think there ever was really a good reason to have burnt in black bars on the left or right anyways, but yeah. So the thing that was weird about that is that as YouTube was displaying this super tall mode, where the resolutions are just, the aspect ratios can be, it seems like practically anything now, and the screen will try its best to fit it. They used it in probably the worst way you could possibly use a portrait mode. Portrait mode in general needs to be a standing person in front that you're taking the portrait. So they were using it to show sitting people, and there was just a ton of empty space above their head, and it was cutting off at their knees still, so it's like, yeah, I'm not sure how often this is going to be useful. I'm having this weird thought right now because I'm looking at the sequel to This Is the Police, which I think This Is the Police 1 only came out maybe a year ago. It'd be funny as a comedy sketch if somebody was filming a police officer doing something improper, and then the police officer walked up to them, took their phone, rotated it into widescreen, and then handed it back to them. And he goes and says, "No vertical video," and then continues to go back. And if you're gonna do a comedy sketch like that, you probably want him like stealing donuts or something comedically improper, not tragically improper. Let's see. Moving on though, the game This Is the Police is out, and it doesn't seem like anybody's really liking it, which is fine for me because I didn't really want to play the first one either. So this is a THQ Nordic published game. It has mixed results, 67% of 670 user reviews. It's a strategy, indie adventure, story-rich game. I don't know what the real gameplay mechanic is. Seems kind of odd, but when I look at the screen, I thought it was more of a Telltale-esque game where you just made storyline decisions and that was it. But apparently it's not. Alright, do I want to kill this guy? No, so do that. Let's see, let's look at what This Is the Police is rated at. In comparison, This Is the Police is very positive, 84% of 4,486 users over its lifetime have been say that was good. And apparently This Is the Police came out August 2nd, 2016. Man, it's been... time flies when you're running a YouTube channel. So, yeah. But personally, I'm still not interested in playing the This Is the Police, so the sequel makes that easier to get away with that. Moving on, gamingindustry.biz has an article. Paradox Interactive chooses development over stagnation with CEO switch. Eben Ljungernd, that's Ljungerud and the first name is Ebba, EBBA, on the fan response to her taking the role of CEO, and Fred Wester on the super scary side of no longer being the boss. So this is a interesting shakeup in which one guy stepped down but still works for the company apparently. And they move some people around.
Well fought, I concede.
Let's see. There's a quote here from Frederick Wester. We lose quite a lot of money, says is one quote. But to us, it's an investment in the relationship with the people, and it makes sure we get the kind of feedback that we want. So I don't know what they're really talking about there. I'm trying to skim this article.
Anduin versus Jaina.
You asked for it.
The light shall bring victory.
Here's a quote. I think there was genuine fear that I would introduce loot boxes into every single game we have. I don't even know what Paradox Interactive would be. Here's a quote from Frederick Russ. It's about empowering someone else to make changes to something you love. It's very hard. This is an interesting spin on what usually is a either completely unmentioned thing when there's a transition of CEO, or I don't know. It's but as an end user, I don't know what you can really take from that article either. As I skimmed it, it doesn't seem like there's anything that really matters there. We'll see what changes at Paradox Interactive when changes occur at Paradox Interactive. let's see. Next article we have from GameIndustry.biz. PSVR designer Richard Marks joins Google's Advanced Technology Department. Marks leaves Sony after nearly 20 years working on the experimental projects. I could see that just being a random change. I could also see Sony being through quite a transition phase right now, as they've got like a new boss and Sony is just doing things a little bit differently. Sony Interactive Entertainment in particular, whereas Sony, the big movie company, is also certainly doing a lot of weird stuff. See, this very much could just be a job transition. Let's see. We've got a game on Steam called Regular Human Basketball, which is a multiplayer only basketball game played by giant falling apart robots, and you're playing as a character who is jumping around on the inside, activating switches to pick up the basketball and take it.
Must consider.
So the joke here, of course, is it's two giant robots trying to play basketball for apparently no reason. It's a multiplayer game though. It's $4.99. So for me, I have no interest in playing a multiplayer game, but this would be a funny one, I think, for some people to try out. Maybe not $10 worth of fun, but alright. The only other game developed by this developer is called Crawl, which is rated overwhelmingly positive, so at least it has some credibility behind it. Crawl at least looks like it would be a more interesting game to me, and it's just a pixel graphics dungeon crawler. It looks like you probably can only play it with multiplayer. In fact, I think Giant Bomb may have reviewed this game. Yeah, maybe you have to have at least 2 players to play.
Is someone injured?
I doubt it, though.
Medicine
Right away.
sense.
Okay. We've got a game on Steam called American University Life Welcome Week. It is tagged indie, casual, nudity, sexual content. And what languages is it in? It's only in English. So yes, it has that Western trying to ape anime style drawing on it. And the thing I would say here is that looking at the character types and the body types, you might actually run into some more naturally looking Western characters in this game than you usually end up seeing. But yeah, it does seem like this is a visual novel where you're playing as a girl, probably dating or trying to date another girl. There's a character here with a lovely set of cornrows in her hair.
Right away.
African American character, I assume.
Right away.
Or African character. You don't see a lot of well animated cornrows, as they're not really a thing in anime at all. You have a paler white blonde blue-eyed girl. You have a tanned athletic brunette brown hair brown-eyed girl. So they're going for at least 3 varieties there. Let's see how much it is. $4.99. It almost by the name feels like it's a beginning of something larger, but it's the only game from this developer. I guess if you must play a Western version of an anime visual novel, American University Life Welcome Week might be a good pick for you. It looks alright, but frankly I don't see a need to play that.
Right away.
Play Hearthstone while we're at it. Gamer Sutra has an article, How Player Criticism Helped Make Dead Cells the game it is today. Dead Cells was one of the games shown off in a quick look by Giant Bomb today. And sadly, in looking in that, I think that probably killed the last bit of interest I had in Dead Cells. Because Dead Cells is all about fighting. It's a Metroidvania roguelite type game, but it's just fighting and fighting and fighting. A lot of hacking and slashing. No real platforming, no real puzzling from what I can tell.
Let me change your mind.
And because of that, it's just too one note. I know it has a lot of items that you can unlock and use, and that will improve your runs over and over again, kind of like Rogue Legacy, but I think I'd prefer to just go back to Rogue Legacy. I feel like Rogue Legacy had more variety. Every now and then you'd be in a room that was just a puzzle or a challenge. So yeah, I just don't think Dead Cells is gonna make it unless somebody really wants to twist my arm and really ask me to play it, or if somebody gifts it to me, I'd definitely play it. But I just don't.
Reactor core online.
I think it's gonna end up being a game that I just miss out on, and there clearly is gonna be a list of games that I miss out on that maybe 5 years from now I go, hey, I missed this game, let's go back and play it. But
Awaken my children.
Yeah, at the moment.
Awaken my children.
Ironically, we have another game called Life in the Dorms on Steam, and this seems like it's a kind of adventure, maybe almost like a point and click adventure game, but all the graphics are super blocky and ugly, and I think this is probably trying to be more of a joke or a troll game than an actual experience. Alright, let's see. Rush. This. Spellbreaker.
Your magic shall not save you.
Let's hit that one. Let's return that one. Heal that one.
Job's done.
In return. Life in the Dorms is a free game.
Reactor core
It says it requires a controller, so whatever. Yeah, I have no interest in it. Let's see. GameIndustry.biz had an article making the piracy problem worse. 10 years ago this month, some publishers look at the recording industry's disastrous reaction to file sharing and basically copy it. So that might have been an interesting article. I don't know if I really have time. honestly, at this point, I don't feel like I don't feel like piracy is really a big issue. I don't think it's gonna get any better or worse than where it is until we have like better people have more money, basically. that's the thing that is mostly encouraging piracy is poverty. So if we can solve the problem of poverty, then we can, I guess, solve
Meddlesome insects.
Job's done.
We've got a game on Steam called Picross Fairy Tale Legend of the Mermaid. Picross Fairy Tale Legend of the Mermaid. It looks like a basic Picross game. Let's see. It's free to play though, so it's the right price, I guess. Unless they have a bunch of in-app purchases for more Picross puzzles, which maybe they do. It does have in-app purchases. Nanograms, Picross, basic puzzle stuff. Again, a game that probably would be better on a cell phone than a portable system. I mean, a stationary system like a PC. GameIndustry.biz has an article, MapleStory M achieves 3 million downloads in the first week. The mobile version of the hugely popular Korean MMO tops the highest grossing charts in key Asian markets. So I've heard of MapleStory, but I don't think there's really a Western presence yet. See, we're almost done with the news. Almost. We've got a game on Steam called Munchies. I think I already covered this. It's a pretty bad looking platformer. Animation is just a little too thick in its inking and cartoony. A character, you're playing as a hedgehog who's jumping around trying to collect food and reach different places. It seems to have a parachute ability. Let's see. Munchies is 15% off for $8.49. Now, this next game is an odd one. Generally speaking, I wouldn't recommend this game. It isn't going to make any sense to most people, and it's not really going to be that useful to most people. This game is called the Turing Tumble VR. So, one of the toys / ideas of explaining a Turing complete process is to put a certain number of balances and counterbalances and weights and items on a pegboard, and then you have marbles fall down that pegboard, and if you programmed, quote unquote, the programming correctly, you will be able to get like the blue marbles to go one way and the red marbles to do the other way. Ironically though, I don't believe this actually is a Turing complete system, because a Turing complete system has to be able to have some kind of looping forever algorithm, something that would take a marble basically and put it back at the top, and there's nothing really I've ever seen on these pegboard things, and I'm not sure how much this really teaches anybody of anything. It seems like it's even worse than the concept of
You are
I think it's called Apple Scratch, where you're dropping blocks. There's several quote-unquote graphical programming interfaces where you're dragging and dropping blocks to make a code. At least that's getting you halfway towards programming, where this is a physical representation with none of the words. But if you're a geek, if you're a nerd, which I don't know why I'm using that phrase since I don't even consider myself that anymore, if you're into computers, the Turing Tumble VR game might be interesting. I don't know why you really need this in VR. Honestly, you'd probably prefer this in real life, where you could look at it more. It's early access. It's $7.99. I kind of just wanted to mention it. It says there's like at least
I wonder.
Says it's dozens of hours long game if you only want to puzzle every challenge out. And how many challenges are there? That's the thing I would want to know. So they're giving you challenges. 59 puzzles to work with. Let's just pin this. Game Industry Biz has a article. Skybound targets 8 to 10 game releases a year. The Walking Dead company details its video game publishing plans. This is not Telltale's Walking Dead, though this would be Skybound software. 8 to 10 releases a year is crazy. It's like you're trying to own every month with at least one release, competing against every single other developer and publisher. Like, no, it doesn't make any sense at all. Like, we cannot sustain a video game market where Activision Blizzard is putting out a game a month and Bethesda is putting out a game a month. That would be laughably funny. And all the Steam games are coming out all the time, and like EA's putting out a game every month, and Ubisoft's putting out a game every month. You just can't have 7, 8, 12 games coming out in a month and expect any of them to sell as well as they are selling even now. Let's see. Skybound's first published game, The Long Dark, is scheduled for release on September 4th. I don't know why they're being so bold, so ambitious. Like, they should flip that around. They should target a new game release every 8 to 10 months. That would be closer to accurate. Alright, moving on. Gematsu has an article. The Cosmic Horror Retro RPG World of Horror has been announced for PS4, Switch, and PC, due out in 2019. The trailer of this is a real black and white, oddly animated game. But also, because this is a 2019 release, I don't really even need to do anything with that information. Gematsu has an article. Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition adds revamped arena mode. So if anybody's playing that, that's great. Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition is due out on the PS4 and Xbox One on August 31st. So, kind of in a similar way, as far as similar to the Turing table, there is a game called Yoga Lesson VR. So, What I wanted to see specifically about this is what language this is available in. Yes, it's English, Korean is full audio, simplified Chinese, and Japanese. So yes, this is a Korean game, and that's exactly what I was thinking. Is basically what this is I don't think Korea, I could be totally wrong about this, I don't think Korea actually allows porn, South Korea. So they kind of dance around it with exercise things, like the exercising yoga. So what you're seeing here, and this game is tagged with sexual content by the fans, is a real, I assume, Korean lady who's your yoga master in not extremely skimpy outfits considering she's going to be doing yoga, but also in some clothing that has a tendency to be a little skimpy. And seems like you can pick what pose she's going to take to show you how she does the pose. And it seems like you even can tell her whether she's doing it right or not. Or maybe she's telling you how to do it right. Seems like you can also buy her like lotion or something as gifts, and then she puts it on her arms.
Let me change your mind.
This is also kind of what Chinese people have done in the past, where porn is not culturally allowed, but you can get darn right close to it in the guise of exercise videos. Honestly though, I don't think you're gonna really see too much in this game. It's 15% off for $16.99. In both ways, like, I don't think you're going to see too much as far as getting good ideas on yoga, nor are you going to see too much if you're just trying to ogle the yoga teacher, the character.
The light shall bring victory.
But yep, I imagine we will start to see more games like that on Steam. I imagine we're just going to see more games like a lot of things on Steam. And I'm certainly not one calling for censorship of Steam, but I am going to start calling for an improvement in the quality of the lewd material being placed on Steam. Nobody needs this garbage, and if we need better games to run in comparison to the bad games and say, look, your game won't sell because we've got a better game over here that everybody already knows about. Yakuza 0 is on Steam. It's mostly positive, 78% of 1,627 users, which indicates to me that not only is it a good game, but it's a good game from Sega that's running moderately well on PC. That inherently seems really crazy too. Yakuza is a mostly beat-em-up RPG game, but it has a lot of random crazy things you can also do. Let's see, has some multiplayer in it. And it says this title uses third-party DRM de novo anti-tamper. It's $19.99. I wonder if this warning is directly actually from Steam or if it's from one of my plugins. that I've installed, like Enhanced Theme. So anyway, Yakuza 0 will go on my wish list. I don't know when, if ever, I'll get around to playing any of the Yakuza games. Yakuza 0 probably is the prequel, so it might be a good one to play first, or it might actually be the worst one to play first.
You are the Shadow's puppet.
Let's see. We've got a game called ZIQ, which might be pronounced Zeke. Seems like it's a infinite runner style game. You're jumping where there are holes in the platform. There's all kinds of pillars that you have to try and avoid. It feels like a flattened version of Tempest. Might be a good way to describe it. It's 10% off for $8.99. It seems visually one note, just a lot of blue. And honestly, I don't think an arcade runner game catches my attention enough, so I'm just going to close it. We have a game called Nurikabe. That's N-U-R-I-K-A-B-E. It says it's a minimalistic logic puzzle from Japan. Unwind to solve these challenging puzzles. It seems like it's probably something close to Minesweeper. Says it has over 50,000 unique puzzles. That seems like a lot unless they're auto-generated. Which one I would assume it is. Has an all-time peak of 1 player. It's 99 cents, no discount. The problem with this game is it just looks like a one-screen Unity game, and there's nothing here that explains what this game is at all. It's the first game from this developer too. Yeah. Like, even if Nurikabe is a great puzzle game, the way it's being depicted and delivered here is terrible. There needs to be at least an explanation of how the game plays, or, you know, maybe a tutorial or something.
Job's done.
Moving on, we've got a game called Salty Seabird Bay. It's an early access 4-player local some kind of game. Seems like a mini game type game, kind of like Mario Party. Doesn't really look super interesting, and it's multiplayer only, so I guess I don't care. Early access too, 10% off for $16.19. So yeah, I don't think Salty Seabird Bay will get enough of a player base, and without a single player, I wouldn't want to touch it, because I, at the very beginning, at least want to know how to play the games.
Out of my jungle.
Let's take this. And it's the same anime girl. There's a game here called V-Katsu, K-A-T-S-U, and it's that anime girl that was poking people with the vest. Apparently that might be a pre-purchasable character. In this game, it says it's an early access, free-to-play game. V-Katsu is an avatar making software that has the richest variety of expressions. There's a lot of data we have prepared for you. So does it import or export to anything? I don't really think it does. And this doesn't seem like it's even the same company that made the other game. English language not supported either. It's free, however. So
Pinch of death cup. Heel of shoe.
if that, I guess that doesn't change too much if you can't understand what they're saying. Let's see, this developer. No, it is the same developer.
Your magic
So on the exact same day, they released VKatsu for free and Soon VR for free. They also have a game called Summer Vacation that's supposed to come out this summer, which promises what looks like better, more realistic graphics in a Dead or Alive beach volleyball style game, it looks like. Moving on, there's a game called Uragi Saba, that's UAGI-SABA. Says it's an indie casual game. Raise and care for magical breed creatures called mystics with all with their own unique genes. Carve out your own underground sanctuary and discover its secrets.
Tortola, preserve us! Revenge!
Oops, I could have played that, should have. Let's see. So it seems like you're dealing with characters and kind of making houses or cells for these characters. Seems like it's a weird creature raising simulator game. It's very dark and black, and there's nothing really standing out because of that. Uragi Saba is 10% off for $13.49. And an hour has just passed. I think I will go ahead and close Uragi Saba. If somebody comes back and tells me it actually is a real good game when it comes out of early access, I'll check it again. GameIndustry.biz has an article. Nintendo barely improves conflict material sourcing over 2 years. 1/4 of the company's smelters and refiners aren't following protocols to prevent human rights abuses. I really didn't think Nintendo was ever going to really care about that. Honestly, I don't think most companies care about that, and I think that maybe Nintendo is just not as good as most companies as far as committing fraud and pretending like stuff like that isn't happening. You can read the full article if you want more, but yeah. And that leaves us at the Humble Store, and the Humble Sports Bundle is going on right now. Is there another bundle? Because the Humble Sports didn't really catch my attention. No, not right now at least. Maybe something more will happen here. It's not conflict material, but Lego, I haven't talked about Lego in a while, has shifted where they're sourcing their plastic from being oil-based plastic to, or plastic-based plastic to like soybean-based plastic. And so to celebrate that, they're giving away a box of plants made from plants, which is kind of cool. We've got someone on the chat speaking in Spanish, so there's rule English only. Doesn't really matter, I'm about to wrap up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end this stream, and then I'm gonna take a break, and then I'm gonna come back probably several hours from now and start streaming. It might not be several hours, but yeah, I think that's how we're gonna do it. I have an article article here from GameIndustry.biz, from failed Kickstarter to career-defining success, the story of Pony Island. Pony Island being an interesting underdog tale. Let's see. Sliced Dice and Rice is coming to the Switch this summer in Japan. Let's see. It apparently is already on Steam with mixed reviews right now, so I'll go ahead and ignore that. Let's see. Kamen Rider Climax Scramble ZIO adds Gates build and Cross Z. So Kamen Rider additions don't need to really be talked about. And let's see, Leaftail Labs is looking for a design lead in Seattle, Washington. Job listing there from Kamasutra. Ooh, and I think that is that. There's a game called Fuel Renegades. It's looks like it's a racing game of some sort. It's not too bad. Yep. Fuel Renegades early access, free. So, yeah, you might want to check that out. And where are we now? I think we're done. Yeah. That's gonna be it for this recording. There's probably some new stuff on Twitter, but I'll deal with all of that on Monday. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me, friend me on Steam, gift me a game or gift card, or send me a Steam code directly through Twitter direct message. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.